If you like this video, click like. If you want to continue to follow our adventure, hit subscribe. Your support would be greatly appreciated.
Hello, Lounge on the Road subscribers and followers. Well, you know what today is, don't you? Yep, it's Friday. You know what that means, don't you? Yes, you do. It's Easy 5 Friday. And today's topic is 5 chores to cut costs. So what I'm trying to do here is making a comparison between living in a stick and brick and a pop-up camper, and things that we have done living in a pop-up camper that helped us reduce our costs from $2,400 down to about $600 a month. So quite the savings living in a pop-up camper. So let's get started. Number 1, Mr. Heater Portable Buddy. Mr. Heater Portable Buddy is a great space heater. Runs off propane. Has 2 settings, high and low. And that's it. It doesn't shut off automatically. There's no automation to it. And so if you decide that you're going to run the heater, that means that you're going to be the thermostat. When it gets too hot, you're shutting it off. When it's too cold, you're turning it on. So it forces you to deal with maybe cooler temperatures than what you would in your home. I know when I was at home, I was always cold. I was just chilled all the time, and I set the thermostat higher than it probably should have been, and so it ran up the cost. But here, living in a pop-up camper, I call it laziness, call it whatever you want, call it cheapness, I don't know. I see myself not turning it on when I'm a little chilly. I'll go ahead and put on an extra, wear my flannel, or maybe put on a sweater and a flannel, whatever I need to do just to stay warm so I don't have to turn that thing on and off. Same thing at nighttime. If it gets down to 40 degrees, you may be thinking, well, maybe I should turn that heater on. And the first few times you try that and you're up in the middle of the night turning it off, turning it on, turning it off, turning it on, you begin to realize, no, sleep's more important. So you just put on an extra layer of blankets. Number 2, the generator. Running off batteries, LED lights, the whole deal. We use very, very little electric. The generator runs about 6 hours a day, charging the batteries back up. The rest of the day, the refrigerator, the computers, the LED lights are running off batteries. So 6 hours a day, we charge batteries. That's twice a day, 3 hours a day roughly. And our cost has never went over $40 on running that generator with gasoline. Running off batteries forces you to determine what it is that you really want to run throughout the day. We have to have the fridge. That means that we have to reserve that electricity for the fridge. So when are we going to run our computers? Well, it makes sense to run the computers not on the battery, but when the generator's running. That means now you're only on the computers 6 hours a day. Or TV, if that's what you choose to do. That's a huge reduction in electric costs. Number 3, internet, Wi-Fi, whatever you want to call it. I was paying $150 for internet. Now that also included TV and telephone, but I couldn't find a package that was cheaper living in a stick and brick. But here in the truck, I get it for $20 a month, AT&T, 100 gigabytes. I mean, it is an amazing package. And I couldn't have done that living in a stick and brick because there's no way the truck signal would have went inside the house. So, I'd have spent a fortune on trying to get boosters and battery chargers and the whole deal. Well, the thing is, doing that, I actually am not on the internet near as much as I used to be. So that gives me health benefits and all kinds of things. But, $20 is a far, far cry from $150. And I don't need the TV. I've discovered I don't need the TV. So we are saving a ton of money on internet costs. And personally, I feel like we're on it less. We're walking around and, enjoying life more, not being on it. Number 4, water. Water is free for us. We find in the national forest, or we can go to the local spring water. Or, we can go to the gas station and ask them for water. So water has not been a big deal. But that is probably one of the biggest chores we have, is going to get it. You know, we have 6 buckets now. I know I can get more buckets, and maybe I will one of these days. But right now I'm satisfied with 6 buckets. We fill them up, and it lasts 4 or 5 days. But even in the house, it would cost us $20 a month to run the well. Prior to that, you had to buy water, and depending on your municipality, it can get really high. I remember when I lived 10 years ago or so, water was like $80. It was terribly high, terribly high. So, you know, we went from, let's say, $20 with the well down to 0. So there you go. But it takes work. That's the thing. It's a chore that you got to do. So I'm willing to give up the modern conveniences of being able to turn on a faucet and get water versus, you know, free. Free is a big deal to me. Number 5, shower. Okay, shower is a chore that we have to do. Now, it used to be a harder chore than it is now, which has ran up the cost a bit, but I'll explain that in a minute. Used to be, we just heat our water up over the campfire. We get 5 solid gallons of shower water, and, you know, but it took a good hour to get all that set up, to heat the water up, and, you know, get the shower set up, get the hoses set up, the whole thing. Well, since then, my father has bought us a on-demand water heater, and I'm going to be honest, it really does not use a lot of propane. We're on the same tank that we were 2 months ago. So I'm thinking that about every 3 months we're going to spend $12 on shower water. Very inexpensive. Now, in a house you have a water heater, which is it's terribly inefficient, because you got to keep that water hot, and when it cools off it kicks on. So if you're not using it, it's still kicking on. The other thing that we do is we shut off the water. So you soap up while the water, you get wet, you soap up with the water off, then you rinse off. So you're not even using that much water, nor are you using that much heat. So it could go on. This tank could last 5 months, as far as I know. So whereas in a house, you just tend to leave the water on. And so you're wasting all that electricity on the water heater. So anyway, that is our 5 chores that we do that have cut our costs living in a pop-up camper versus a stick and brick. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click like if you like the video, and happy travel.